Society tells you that you have to be loud to have your existence recognized in this world. Not here. This is your quiet, elegant retreat. Welcome to Season 2 of Becoming, Conversations in Elegance and Empowerment. If you've read my book, The Princess Guide to Gratitude, then you know I'm a big believer in celebrating everything, especially milestones. They allow us to pause, see how far we've come, and choose to keep going on our journeys. Yet, we tend to celebrate milestones loudly. The most meaningful changes in our lives often happen quietly. Becoming is rarely visible in real time. I invite you to step inside this quiet space, get comfortable, and I'll explain. If, as you listen, you find yourself wanting focused, private support in your own becoming, I invite you to apply for coaching at becomingpublishing.com.
Becoming the magnificent me, empowered, strong, and gracefully, with poise and elegance, I can see I am who I was born to be.
Welcome to Becoming, Conversations in Elegance and Empowerment, a sanctuary for women who desire to live with purpose, grace, and quiet confidence. I'm Senée, your host, author, and transformation guide. Gentlemen are welcome to listen in, but this space is intentionally crafted for the elegant woman becoming all she's meant to be. If this conversation resonates and you'd like focused private support, I invite you to explore private coaching. You can find more information anytime at becomingpublishing.com. Now, let's step into today's topic. At a recent family gathering, someone asked how I was doing and what I'd been up to. I smiled and said, I have been intentionally quiet, stepping back from the noise to focus on becoming. While it may look like I've been on a vacation from the podcast, it's been anything but a vacation. The holidays didn't feel like a carefree celebration either. We've been in the middle of a move. And I'll be honest, I hate moving. I dislike it so much that I have stayed in places that weren't a true match simply to avoid the disruption. But this time, a move was necessary. As usual, the process was stressful and taxing on both my husband and me. I found myself solving one problem after another, and in the middle of that chaos, something unexpected happened. A new book I wasn't planning to write began pouring out of me, Becoming Lavishly Loving. There were moments I had to stop unpacking boxes and run to my computer or grab a pen and paper just to capture what was coming through. It was a beautiful blessing in the midst of upheaval. There is such a thing as good stress, the kind that accompanies positive change. Getting married, getting a new job, moving to a new place, welcoming a child. These are joyful milestones, yet each carries its own strain. Growth often does. We like to talk about overnight success, but true transformation rarely happens overnight. It forms slowly. Its foundations are built in quiet, unseen seasons. In my previous work, I've called these seeds of greatness growing in darkness. Yet modern culture urges us to broadcast every moment of our lives. We're told to document the process in real time to make our private becoming public. But the most meaningful, lasting changes are often meant to unfold in solitude, in that quiet, sacred interior space. Research reflects this tension. According to the Pew Research Center, nearly half of U.S. residents say social media has a mostly negative effect on people their age, and many report spending more time online than they believe is healthy. Social comparison and performance have become woven into daily life. In my experience, real growth almost always requires passing through a dark or uncertain place. These seasons can involve external challenges or deep internal work, and often they are best navigated privately, away from the constant gaze of an audience. Reality television and social media have normalized the idea that everything should be visible. The renovation, the breakdown, the rebuild. But not every moment belongs in the public square. Many experiences are what I describe in Becoming Lavishly Loving as inside the castle moments. Sacred spaces where only a trusted few are invited to witness the process, offer support, and bear quiet testimony to our transformation. If you're in a quiet season right now, one where it feels like everything important is happening beneath the surface, I want you to know that you're not behind. You may be laying foundation that will shape the next chapter of your life in ways you can't yet see. In a moment, I want to talk about how to honor these unseen seasons of becoming and why they're essential to real transformation. If this conversation is resonating and you recognize yourself in what we're discussing, I invite you to apply for private coaching. I work privately with a small number of women each season who are ready to rebuild confidence, strengthen emotional boundaries, and make clear decisions in life and love. This is structured, focused work, not surface motivation. If you're navigating heartbreak or life transitions and you want grounded private support, you can apply at becomingpublishing.com. I personally review every application. We tend to think of growth as something visible, promotions, milestones, announcements, but psychological research tells a different story. As developmental psychologist Erik Erikson wrote in his book, Identity, Youth, and Crisis, quotes, "The process of identity formation emerges as an evolving configuration, a process taking place largely within the individual," end quote. He described it as not being a single event. It unfolds gradually through periods of reflection and internal recognition, reorganization. In other words, the most important shifts in who we are often happen quietly. Later research by psychologist Dan McAdams, published in his book The Stories We Live By, expanded this idea by showing that identity develops through narrative integration, which is the process of making meaning from our experiences during reflective periods. These quieter seasons are when we reorganize our life stories and understand ourselves more clearly. Quote, "We are all storytellers, and we are the stories we tell. The stories we construct to make sense of our lives shape who we are becoming," he wrote. Neuroscience supports this as well. In a landmark 2001 paper published in Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences, neuroscientist Marcus Rachel and his colleagues identified what is now called the brain's default mode network. It's a system that becomes active during rest and reflection. This network is involved in memory consolidation, emotional processing, and self-referential thinking. More recently, neuroscientist Mary Helen Immordino-Yang explained in her book, Emotions, Learning, and the Brain, that reflective downtime is essential for integrating emotional experience and shaping identity. When we slow down, the brain is not idle. It is actively organizing what we've lived through. This reframes quiet seasons entirely. They are pauses in becoming. They are becoming itself. Even though this period of growth usually takes place in quiet, alone spaces, it can be a vulnerable space. That's okay and perfectly normal. Quote, "Vulnerability is not winning or losing. It's having the courage to show up and be seen when we have no control over the outcomes," wrote research professor and author Brené Brown in her book, Daring Greatly. When we rush these periods, we interrupt a process the brain is designed to complete. However, when we allow them, when we give ourselves permission to be quiet, we create the conditions for lasting transformation. The world celebrates visible progress, but the foundation of that progress is built in silence. Next, we'll explore practical ways to implement this in your daily life. Many of the ideas we're exploring this season are expanded on in my newest book, Becoming Lavishly Loving, available on Spotify, my website, and most online booksellers. It explores intuition, emotional boundaries, and protecting your inner world with elegance. For women who are ready to apply this work in real time, not just understand it intellectually, I offer a private 3-month coaching container where we rebuild confidence and clarity from the inside out. You can learn more and apply at becomingpublishing.com. So how do we honor a quiet season when we find ourselves inside one? First, it's imperative that we recognize it. A quiet season often feels like reduced urgency. You may feel pulled inward rather than outward. Instead of fighting that instinct, notice it. Ask yourself what your inner world is trying to organize or understand. Second, honor your pacing. Growth has rhythm. Some seasons are expansive and social. Others are reflective and contained. Neither is superior. Respecting your internal timing allows change to root more deeply. Third, resist comparison. Quiet seasons are easily misunderstood, especially in a culture that rewards constant visibility. Someone else's highlight moment does not invalidate your integration phase. Different chapters serve different purposes. And finally, create emotional space. This may look like reducing noise, protecting private time, or choosing carefully who has access to your inner process. Transformation needs room to breathe. A quiet season is not an absence of progress. It is a conversation between who you have been and who you are becoming. When you allow that conversation to unfold without pressure, you emerge clearer, steadier, and more aligned with yourself. Quote, "The greatest gift you can give yourself is acknowledging your inner experience, the good, the bad, and the ugly, with compassion and curiosity," wrote psychologist Susan David in her book, Emotional Agility. Every life contains visible chapters and hidden ones. The hidden chapters are what I have often called in my previous work the cocoon stage of becoming the butterfly. It's where identity settles, wisdom forms, and direction clarifies. They may not look impressive from the outside, but they shape everything that follows. If you find yourself in a quiet season right now, trust that something essential is organizing beneath the surface. Becoming is not always loud. Often it is quiet, deliberate, and deeply personal. And that is where its power lives. Thank you so much for spending time with me on Becoming Conversations in Elegance and Empowerment. If something in today's conversation spoke to you and deeper focused support feels right, I invite you to explore private coaching at becomingpublishing.com. Until next time, stay elegant, stay empowered.
Becoming the magnificent me, empowered, strong, and gracefully, with poise and melody.